I wasn't invited for Christmas this year, because my family said I'd ruin the vibe with my brokenness. 3 days before Christmas, I was blocked from the family group chat. No explanation. Just, gone. They said it was just adults this time, but I found out they invited my cousin's TikTok famous dog. A dog. Over me. Eyes. Before we go on, if this feels unfair, share this story and subscribe for more real-life comebacks that'll shock you. You won't believe what Ava did next. I sat on my twin mattress that night, staring at the peeling ceiling of my one-room apartment, and felt every crack inside me match the one above. Mom's words from last year rang in my ears. Ava, maybe. If you had a real job instead of chasing your little candle dream, you'd have something to offer. Yeah. I made candles. Hand-poured, all natural, soothing scents. My little hustle. To them, it was embarrassing. Last Christmas, they laughed when I gifted them each a custom candle. I remember Aunt Cheryl holding hers like it was diseased. You think this smells like Christmas, Ava? It smells like poverty. That moment burned into me. I didn't cry. I just decided. I decided to disappear. No updates. No messages. No posting. While they mocked me, I built in silence. I worked at a diner by day, poured wax by night, and sold online through every platform I could find. I watched tutorials while eating dollar ramen. I shipped orders from my tiny kitchen using recycled boxes. I didn't party. I didn't rest, and then, out of nowhere, one TikTok. Just one video of my candles burning with relaxing sounds. It exploded. Within weeks, orders piled in. I reinvested every dollar. Changed branding. Bought bulk wax. My living room turned into a fulfillment center. Then the magic happened. A major influencer tagged me. A celebrity bought from me. Suddenly, I wasn't just selling candles. I was building an empire. I hit my first six-figure month in October. Quietly. Silently. And now, December was here. My bank account was full. But my name wasn't on the guest list, and that's when I made a decision that would flip the entire night upside down. I booked a luxury black SUV, the kind they use for celebrities. Not because I needed to show off, but because this time, I wasn't walking in as the forgotten one. As I pulled up to my parents' massive suburban house, snow gently fell across the lawn full of twinkling lights. Laughter spilled from inside. My heart pounded. Not with fear. With purpose. I wasn't here to beg for a seat. I was here to take control of the table. I walked to the door with a sleek black gift bag in one hand, and my company's latest holiday candle collection in the other. I knocked once. When my mom opened the door, her smile froze. Ava? She looked like she'd seen a ghost. I thought this year was just adults, right? I smiled calmly, holding out the candle box. So I figured I qualified now. After all, this line just made $280,000 in pre-orders. She didn't respond. Just stepped aside. I walked in like I owned the place, because this time, I did. The room went silent. My cousin Brittany, the one who said I'd be forever basic, actually dropped her champagne glass. Uncle Rob muttered under his breath, that can't be Ava. She looks expensive. They stared at my designer coat, my glowing skin, the confidence in my stride. I wasn't flaunting. I was finished hiding. I placed the candle box on the table and said, thought I'd bring something that actually smells like success this year. Nobody laughed. Not this time. Then I walked into the living room and saw it. The Christmas tree was surrounded by mountains of gifts. But not a single one had my name. That's when Brittany smirked, trying to recover. You weren't invited, Ava. We thought you were still struggling. We didn't think you'd show up with some random product like last year's homemade junk. I didn't flinch. Funny you mention that. That junk is now stocked in Nordstrom, Urban Outfitters, and 10 boutique hotels across the state. You could hear the air leave the room. Then I pulled out my phone. Actually, I was just featured in Forbes' Top 30 Under 34. Small Business Innovation. You wanna see? Before she could speak, I cast the video to their giant living room TV. My face lit up the screen, being interviewed, praised, applauded, and just as my father entered the room holding his wine glass, he looked up at the screen and dropped it. Glass shattered. So did his ego, but that wasn't even the real twist. Because what I did next changed everything for the entire family. My dad stood frozen, staring at the screen where his own daughter, me, was being applauded by venture capitalists and CEOs. He turned to me, face red. Why didn't you tell us? I smiled. Because you only listen when I fail. The room went dead silent again. My words hit harder than any gift. I looked around at the people who once mocked me, who called me embarrassing, unemployed, delusional. Then I pulled out a crisp white envelope and placed it on the coffee table. This, I said, is a $10,000 check. A donation to the local women's shelter, in your name. Gasps filled the room. I kept going. I was going to use it to pay off your mortgage, Mom. Help you finally retire. But then I remembered. When I needed help last year, you told me to grow up and get real. Her mouth opened, then closed. She had nothing to say. Brittany rolled her eyes. So you made some candle money. Big deal. We still don't need you to flex at our family event. Oh, I'm not flexing, I replied, walking calmly to the dining table. I'm hosting. And with that, I clapped my hands. The front door opened, and in walked a full private catering team, white uniforms, silver trays, the works. Everyone stared. Aunt Cheryl whispered, "What's going on?" I turned toward them all. This house? I bought it last month. Dad missed 3 mortgage payments. It was about to be foreclosed. My mom dropped her wine glass. You bought the house? She whispered, "Cash," I said, "and I let you all stay until New Year's. Thought it would be poetic to give you one last Christmas here." Shocked faces. Brittany's jaw hung open. My father sat down without a word. Then I looked around the room and said, "But I'm not cruel. Dinner's still being served. Gifts are under the tree. And I left something extra for each of you, a letter." One by one, they picked up their envelopes. Inside each one, a custom candle with a scent named after their worst insult to me. Brittany's said, "Basic berry." Aunt Cheryl's, "Poverty pine." Dad's, "Failure fir." They read them in silence. No one laughed. No one clapped. Just shame. And just when the room couldn't feel heavier, a knock came at the door. If everyone turned, my heart raced. Because I knew exactly who it was. The door creaked open slowly, and in walked Mr. Langston, the family's longtime attorney. My father stood up fast, trying to mask his panic. What are you doing here?" Mr. Langston didn't even look at him. He looked straight at me. "Miss Ava, I brought the final documents you requested. Everything is signed, sealed, and yours." I nodded and took the envelope, but everyone else was frozen. "What documents?" my mom asked slowly. I turned to the family. The house wasn't the only thing Dad was behind on. Turns out, the land this house sits on has commercial value. A developer offered me $1.2 million last week. Gasps again. "I gave Dad a chance to tell you all himself," I added, locking eyes with him. "But I guess pride's louder than responsibility." My father tried to interrupt. "You can't just sell this home. This is our family's." "It was," I corrected him, calm as ever. "Until you all decided I wasn't family anymore. Remember?" I pointed to the fireplace, where this year's stockings were hung. And mine was missing. "Again, you all decided I didn't belong. So I made a place where I did. In fact, I bought a new place on the other side of the city. Oceanfront. 5 bedrooms. And get this, I hired 2 of you." Everyone looked around. In shock. "Uncle Rob? You applied for warehouse work through my website under a fake name. You're hired, full benefits." Rob blinked fast, too stunned to speak. "And Brittany?" I turned to her slowly. "That copywriting job you just posted about? My assistant already submitted your application to my marketing team." Her face turned pale. "You're lying." I took out my phone again and played the voicemail. "Hi Ava, this is Brittany. Just wanted to reconnect, maybe talk about possible collabs? You're so inspiring." The room nearly exploded with tension. "You see," I said, stepping back toward the front door, "you all taught me exactly how to treat people, by doing the opposite of what you did to me." Then I opened the front door wide and looked back one last time. "Dinner's on me. Enjoy it. It's the last Christmas you'll ever spend in this house." As I stepped out into the falling snow, someone called my name softly behind me. I turned. It was my little cousin Lily, the only one who'd ever defended me. She held up a small envelope and whispered, "Did you leave one for me too?" I smiled. "Open it." She did. Inside, a plane ticket. First class. Destination, Bali. Because what I hadn't told anyone was, as I walked toward the waiting SUV, I glanced back one last time at the house, their symbol of status, tradition, and power. A place they used to measure my worth. And now, it was mine. The candle that sparked it all was still burning on their living room table. The same scent they once mocked now filled the house they were losing. I didn't need to slam the door. Behind me, the silence inside was louder than anything. Lily caught up with me, tears in her eyes. "Why are you sending me to Bali?" I smiled. "Because you were the only one who saw me when I was invisible. That trip isn't a vacation, it's your scholarship. You said you wanted to study design, right?" She nodded, her jaw trembling. "You're enrolled in the School of Design in Ubud. Tuition's paid. Housing's paid. You leave in 3 weeks. It's your time now, Lily." She hugged me tight. The only warmth I felt from that house all night, inside, I knew the chaos had just begun. They were probably arguing, blaming each other, scrambling to understand how the girl they called a waste of space had just bought, fed, and outclassed them all. And as for me? I was headed to a private New Year's gala. Sponsored by women-led startups. I wasn't just attending, I was one of the keynote speakers. I glanced at my phone. Hundreds of new orders. Emails from investors. DM from a talk show producer, but I didn't smile for any of that. I smiled because I knew they finally saw me, not as a failure. Not as a candle girl. Not as the one who ruined Christmas. But as the one who owned the night and rewrote the story. I didn't just get revenge. I got freedom.